through the simple things of life that we are nourished. In silence and celebration, our spirits are nourished. In contemplation and conversation, our minds are nourished. In relationship and solitude, our hearts are nourished. May we find in the simplicity of this ritual nourishment for the unfolding days, and may we sense connection through the gifts we share. These are the words of Greta Vosper. Good afternoon and welcome to College Meeting for Worship. It's good to be with you all on this gorgeous day. I'm thinking we should have held college meeting outside, but we never know, do we? A couple of announcements. One is that Mindfulness House will not be having their meditations this week, so that's an announcement here I want to update you all. And then one announcement we didn't get in time to include is that Questing Catholics invite you to Easter Mass this coming Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. So if anyone's interested, you can take this with you just as a reminder. Yeah, in the Christian tradition, this is Palm Sunday, and next week is Easter. We also have Interfaith coming up. It's also Ramadan. There's just like a lot of really important religious holidays happening right now. This is a big week for the Jewish tradition as well. So be looking out for many events happening this week and next for different religious events. But in this time, we invite you to open your hearts and minds to Winnie's message, to the stillness that we'll share together, and we hope that this hour of worship is good for you on many levels. Thank you for being here.
My reading is chapter 9 from The Little Prince, which for me really defines the definition of independence is not alone. I believe that for his escape, he took advantage of the migration of a flock of wild birds. On the morning of his departure, he put his planet in perfect order. He carefully cleaned up his active volcanoes. He possessed 2 active volcanoes, and they were very convenient for heating his breakfast in the morning. He also had 1 volcano that was extinct, but as he said, one never knows. So he cleaned up the extinct volcano too. If they are well cleaned up, volcanoes burn slowly and steadily, without any eruptions. Volcanic eruptions are like fires in a chimney. On our Earth, we are obviously much too small to clean up our volcanoes. This is why they bring no end of trouble upon us. The little prince also pulled up, with a certain sense of dejection, the last little shoots of the baobab. He believed that he would never want to return. But on this last morning, all these familiar tasks seemed precious to him. And when he watered the flower for the last time and prepared to place her under the shelter of her glass globe, he realized that he was very close to tears. "Goodbye," he said to the flowers, but she made no answer. "Goodbye," he said again. The flower coughed, but it was not because she had a cold. "I have been silly," she said to him at last. "I ask your forgiveness. Try to be happy." He was surprised by his absence of reproaches. He stood there all bewildered. The glass globe held a rest in midair. He did not understand his quiet sweetness. "Of course I love you," the flower said to him. "It is my fault that you have not known all the while. That is of no importance. But you have been just as foolish as I am. Try to be happy. Let the glass globe be. I don't want it anymore." "But the wind, my coat's not so bad as all. The cool night air would do me good. I am a flower." "But the animals, well, I must endure the presence of 2 or 3 caterpillars if I wish to be acquainted with the butterflies. It seems that they are very beautiful." And if not the butterflies and the caterpillars, who will call upon me? You will be far away. As for large animals, I am not at all afraid of any of them. I have my claw. And naively, she showed her 4 thorns. Then she added, don't linger like this. You have decided to go away. Now go. For she did not want me to see her cry. She was such a proud flower.
Today is an English translation of a Vietnamese song, Hide and Seek. There is a tree in a garden. Many flowers bloom on the canopy. There are 2 children playing hide and seek. They've been looking for each other forever, and they forgot their way back. I look for you when you hide, but when I hide, you don't want to find. Your heart doesn't vibrate. It turns out I wasted my search. If there is a hammer, I'll ruin those efforts. Now I remember my longing, squeezing like a concrete block. We will have long journeys. You will have to learn everything yourself. Because in love, everyone is lazy to learn. A story suddenly has a little more tragedy and comedy. The way you call me, in there's no love. Street lights were switched on far from the city. The scent of old days made me feel so burdened. The sadness is bright yellow. It's as if it contains brass. Like Beckham, you're good, like kind of my heart. You open the window and see it. There's a young poet standing next to your house, writing sweet love like ice cream. He'll be here all night. There are 2 trees in a garden. Many flowers bloom on the canopy. There are 2 children playing hide and seek. They've been looking for each other forever, and they forgot their way back. I was as shy as a mimosa of flowers. Like when I'm with you, I can't breathe. We all don't know what's behind the clouds. The hiding game of those days, later full of obstacles. We hunt for longings and collect dreams. Planting dream trees, which takes too much time. We dig holes without knowing the day before. And long after that, we frown that not all flowers will have a sweet scent. I lost my voice because I called your name. It's like a long dream. We strive to find ourselves all over the world, but hide from each other alone. Knowing that I'd rather finish the game from the moment my heart felt pain. The one who is looking for someone to hide. A man to hide from someone to look. Love has fallen asleep under the squash trees of earlier days. Someone cut down the tree and there's no garden left. Someone built a very large house. Are you happy with your new love? Your house has dogs, so I don't dare enter. The loneliness of adults is when they want to hide, but no one wants to find. Sometimes I wish to be a kid again, so when I hide, someone will go and find.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor for me to stand here today to introduce Winnie. I first met Winnie in the spring of 2019 when she was still a freshman. I remember that my first impression of Winnie was not only that she was more independent than other students her age, but she also represented that she was a true student leader. Winnie was selected as one of the Interfaith Leadership Summit participants, which is a yearly interfaith conference in Chicago organized by the Interfaith Youth Corps, or also known as IFYC. To attend this yearly conference, most participants often recruited by their campuses. Winnie, on the other hand, was directly recruited by the IFYC organization itself. Although my office, the Office of Religious Life, provided funding for selected students to attend the conference, Winnie found her own way to the selection process and received a scholarship to gain the experience she wants. This shows how independent Winnie is and how she can achieve the things that she really cares about. In my current position, I have the privilege to work with some of the most extraordinary students on campus. Students that highly care and empathize with others, and Winnie is definitely an example of that. As many of you who are here today already know, Winnie is also full of ideas. When planning the Interfaith Week, as part of the student assignments or tasks for those who attended the FYC conference, Winnie went above and beyond in creating and organizing the activities and events of the Interfaith Week. She was the only student also so far that has taken the initiative to write a grant proposal to the FYC and requested funding to support Interfaith Week, which highly maximized the success of Earlham Interfaith Week that year. She takes ownership of her work and provides the most effort and commitment to anything she claims responsibility for. I am most appreciative of her focus on completing tasks and having the ability to take initiative even during the busiest time of the semester. Winnie deeply cares and appreciates relationships around her, no matter how small interaction she had with them. Winnie always takes the opportunity to say Merry Christmas, Eid Mubarak, Ramadan Mubarak to me every year. She never missed even a single year to say all of that to me. I don't usually open Facebook, but whenever I get a message during those times, I know it's coming from Winnie. This to me proves how much she values relationships that she built with others, people from different cultures and traditions. Friends, we are gathered here today to hear about Winnie's journey. I had the privilege to work with Winnie in the first few semesters of her time here at Earlham. Although, of course, not as many of you who are here today as her friends, who have grown and learned with her into the amazing fourth-year students that you all are, but the little time that I had with Winnie, I knew how wonderful and special person she is. With that being said, friends, let's open our ears, hearts, and minds to the gift of story that Winnie has prepared for us today. Without further ado, here's Winnie.
Thank you, Ikram, for introducing me and also accept the invitation to be here today. And thank you, Tyler and Dad, for giving the readings for the event today as well. Happy Sunday, everyone. I'm Winnie. I'm senior, so almost graduate, just 40 more days. And 4 years for me at Earlham go over many smiling, challenging, and even tears moments. But today, this moment, I'm standing here, countdown 6 weeks far from my graduation to share my story, and thank you for giving me that chance. Before I start sharing my story, I just want to wrap up the content of the 2 readings that my friend have just shared some moment ago. About the little prince story, I learned that the 2 people, when they are mature enough, they can be physically separate and be independent, but not feeling lonely, especially in a relationship. And about the Vietnamese song, Hide and Seek, the highest level of loneliness for the youth is when we are hiding, no one wants to find us. So living independently, being alone, and feeling lonely are the 3 main themes I want to share in my story here. because I never expect that I grow a lot and be as independent as I am now when I first fell from my family 4 years ago, and how difference about being alone and feeling lonely affect my life. Let's start with my freshman year. The new chapter of my life 4 years ago is the summer of 2018, when I packed everything and be ready to fly to the US to live in a new country, new city that 10,000 miles far from my home, speak a language that is not my mother tongue, and especially living independently from my parents. So go back to the past about my childhood. I'm a single child, so I'm living with my parents the whole 80 years ago, and I never have been far from home more than 1 month. So the fact that I need to go somewhere, cannot meet my parents for at least 3 months hit me so hard, raising me a question of, is that hard enough for me? It's like, can I do well when I'm studying abroad? I remember before I leave in Vietnam, I told my parents many and many times that I absolutely want to come back to Vietnam at Christmas, so I'm just leaving home for 100 days. And I will always check back in the calendar day by day for 100 times until I can meet them again. And thinking like that make me less scared of studying abroad and be ready for this journey. My first week at Earlham, the orientation week, it is the longest week of my life because every single day I check the timeline. They are full of schedule, but I'm just wishing the time passing, please, passing so quick. On the third day of the orientation week, I feel like I've been there for about 1 or 2 weeks. But when I look at the calendar, I just check back 3 times. So that means I have 97 days more to go until I can meet my parents. School officially start. I met new friends. I had a great roommate, Giselle. She's so nice, she's so kind, and she helped me a lot during my freshman year. And I also fulfill my schedule with a lot of deadlines from the class, the events on campus, the meal exchange in the cafeteria, the dinner in the dining hall with Vietnamese communities, and I enjoy my new routines. I really enjoy that. And at that time I'm feeling, living independent far from my family is not as hard as I thought. It's less challenging and it's enjoyable. The fact is, I forgot to cross the day in the calendar after the school year starts. And I also forgot the feelings of waiting until 100 days till Christmas that I come back home. Then I choose to stay here the whole winter break and the whole summer of my freshman year. 1 year and a half later, so the winter break of my sophomore year, I came back home. It's not 100 days as I planned. It's kind of like 480 days later. So I can say I feel 1 year and a half first year at Earlham. I'm more and more independent. I'm not feeling lonely. I'm not being alone. And it's the honeymoon phase of my college life. When I come back to the US from Vietnam, so it's the spring semester in 2020. The COVID hit us so hard. Our school shut down and many of my friends choose to come back home in March 2020. I remember there were only 4 out of 15 Vietnamese student class of 2022 choose to stay here with me. And for me at that time, I'm scared of COVID because I thought that as an international student, if I got COVID, I cannot afford the hospital bills, and it is something that's really dangerous that can kill people easily. But why I choose to stay here? It's hard, but I got an internship offer and they didn't allow me to work out of the US, so I chose to stay in the US instead. I marked out this period is passive lonely. Why I say that? Because I didn't choose to be alone. It's the situation forced me to do so. I need to be in my room. I need to be 6 feet far from people. Cannot gathering with my friends. Everyone coming back home. 95% of my spring semester of sophomore is just by myself in my room. 5% more time, it was me and my close friend, her name Ikram. She's also Vietnamese. Sophomore staying here, we do the resident assistant duty route in the U. So it's the only time that I can be in touch with real person, like face to face. I remember when I talked with her, we talked together that if in March 2020 Richmond has the first positive case, then we immediately fly back to Vietnam. Some week later, Wayne County and Richmond had some positive case. So me and my friend continue to tell each other that if Earlham has the first positive case, we would come back to Vietnam. By the end of the spring semester, I believe we had more than 10 cases or so, but Thương and I still stay here, did our virtual internship, and I feel it is the evidence of how independent we were. We decide our own life, we're facing the challenge, and we're responsible for our choice. For me, my spring semester of sophomore year, it's the hard time because I need to get used to the virtual life, learning virtually, working virtually, any events that cannot be organized in person, so they are cancelled. And I'm not good at keeping in touch with person, like while we are distant. So 2020 for me is just a blast. I do not have a much memory about this year. When I think about 2020 now, I feel, okay, it's a year in my life. But I'm lucky enough to have a new friend, virtually of course. And he shares the hard times with me. He guided me a lot through my first step into the tech area. And even till now, he's still by my side. So in a nutshell, 2020, I still become more independent because I'm staying here, not coming back to Vietnam with my family. I was alone, passively, but not really feeling lonely all the time. Moving to my junior year, the last 2 months of 2020 and the first half of 2021, I would say that it's my happiest year of my life because I feel the family vibe in the US. I met my host Brittny and I chose to live off campus with her the whole winter break and the spring semester of my junior year. And those are the first time I cook for the Thanksgiving, green bean casserole, stuffing, turkey, the first time I decorate the Christmas tree, the first time I had eggnog, the first time I celebrate Easter, and my 21st birthday. I also spent 1 week with Brittny and her family in Florida. And every moment, every experience, when I think about that again, it always makes me smile. Although I'm far, far from my home in Vietnam, I'm feeling the family vibe in the US after 3 years of being here. You know, that is the feeling of we're cooking in the kitchen with someone else. The feeling of I'm staying up late to waiting to my host coming back home from her work and say hi to her. The way that we clean up the house and celebrate the holidays together. I always really appreciate that. So my junior year, growing more and more, I'm not being alone, I'm not feeling lonely, I had my new family. Senior year, the most important years in my life, at least for me, because I have 2 main goals that I want to achieve, and I believe for the student, that is one of the most important things. One is graduate, and the second is finding the next path after graduation. Probably finding a job or learning upper level school like PhD or master. So it is also the time that made me the most surprised of my loneliness status. I always question myself, am I independent or am I being lonely? Because I choose to be alone almost of my whole semester. It's not because of COVID that forced me to be in my room, that forced me to cannot meet my friends. That is my choice to be on my own because I think I work better when I'm just alone. I'm applying for a job, having interviews, doing my research for economics or senior capstone project. So after the whole day long, meeting a lot of people, checking a lot of to-do lists, the only things I want to do is come back to my room, in a small corner of my room and just sitting there, sometimes listening to music, but almost all the time it's just sitting by myself and my brain is going somewhere else. I tell myself that, active is not because I'm lazy, it's because during the night is my saving energy mood. But in the next morning when I think back of my previous evening, I will ask myself why I allow myself to waste time like that, feeling a little bit guilty, but it's still happening. I feel lonely during the night, but it's my choice. It's my choice to have the only time of the day to recharge myself. So I feel like I'm a little bit confused. to myself at that time, I don't want to be lonely, but I also don't want to lose that time of being alone. So what should I do? The main reason and also the main motivation for me to go over the fall semester is because I know that I still need to do the interviews for my jobs and I still need to finish my capstone project. Luckily, I enjoy doing those two things, so I'm good enough to go over the fall semester facing with my loneliness. Until the spring semester, I got the full-time offer, I got some academic achievement for my hard working after 4 years. I'm proud of myself to tell my parents that I'm financially independent from them, pay the tuition fee by myself, and I have all the new future ahead with the new chapter of my life in a new city, new workplace, new connections. However, I start feeling exhausted, not feeling really happy, and I just want my time to go slow as possible. I don't want to leave alone. And for myself, I thought that maybe because I still have a lot of things I haven't done yet in my bucket list at all. So I choose to go out more. I choose to try something that I haven't ever done during my 3 years at Earlham. Watching some basketball, baseball, lacrosse, cooking with my friends almost every single weekend. And they're really, really happy. Because I feel like I just regret that I haven't done that sooner. I enjoy the social good time with my friends. They had me a lot during the daylight. However, in the evening, I still feeling lonely. My friend often tell me that I'm no hope in datings. Probably it's maybe a reason why I feel lonely. Probably not. So I'm still in progress of finding the answer in my last 40 days at Earlham. There are ups and down times for me in my college life, and Earlham seeing me from an 18 years old girl, first time far from home, growing up day by day, growing through the pandemic, learning how to be independent, and how to be productive when I'm alone, and also seeing my loneliness time. I never regret to choose Earlham as my home for the college. I always greatly appreciate all the professors, staff, friends, my Bundy residents to be here with me to make my college life more meaningful, colorful, and they are the main reason that I love Earlham. And all we have is now. I realize there are some moments that time went by so fast. Sometimes it's passing so slow. Sometimes we're just asking ourselves why we have too little time. But sometimes we're also asking like, oh, we have too much time in our life. I think it all depends on our emotion. Because we only have 24 hours per day, 60 minutes per hour, and 60 seconds per minute. It's the fact and never change. So I hope that not only me, but also all the seniors in the last 40 days here, we can enjoy the smiles, we can enjoy the tears, we can have some expected or unexpected memories with old friends, with new friends, but it's about time. Thank you for listening for my message.